Baby, come to Dubai.
Dubai is growing. People are entering all kinds of businesses. Very hot area. Is there potential?
Oh yeah, we have to go there. This is fantastic. Almost gold rush.
Taxes here now, but they're really low, and there's no personal taxes.
Money is here. Investors are interested. Work hard, work smart.
Get them to partner with the money.
Dubai is one of the world's biggest brands.
Are you there? Are you getting to your goal? If not today, then when?
You can't just go empty pockets,
No.
right? I have money. I got ticket to Dubai.
Local marketplace, local nuances, cultural sensitivities.
You must be patient. I'm sorry.
Open businesses, close businesses, take losses with a smile. You know, it's part of the game.
I know you worked in Europe, in Africa, in the US, right? In the Middle East. Is there anything special? What's the industry look like now? What is the difference?
Since we're sitting in the UAE or in the GCC, obviously we have a bit of a different story to this, right? We don't have 1,000 years of development of society. We have a period of several hundred years where things were pretty much the same, and then suddenly oil has been discovered, and suddenly society's literally in hyperspeed developed to the level where we are now. So all the things we see are very often driven by this kind of almost gold rush. Is this kind of, oh yeah, we have to go there, this is fantastic, this is great. And as you said, there is this massive growth and massive opportunity. So I think the UAE or the GCC in general is this, you have to look a bit closer in how things work here in regards to what the actual potential is, because superficially you won't get it.
Is there potential?
There is, obviously, there is potential.
What is the, I would say, not the difference, but maybe that, let's put it a little bit of a difference that you, let's say with Europe, that you need to be aware of before even thinking of opening here.
Comparison is probably one of the root causes for failure in any place.
Excellent.
Because,
what a question.
Well, no, the reason is people compare based on what they know.
Yeah.
So you look at your own market, and it doesn't matter if it's the US or is it Germany or is it Singapore. You look at what you know, you go into a place and you're going to say, here's what I know, and now you try to replicate. And then you go into the market, most of the time blindfolded, because in your head is only how many stores can I build. So you go in there, take your comparison and say, well, there's this many people and there's this much money, I'm going to do it. In my personal experience, this is the secret sauce for failure, because you can't. You have to look into every country individually and figure out how does the country work, who's there, how do people behave, and then figure out if your concept, in the way how you have ideated it, wherever that is suitable for the market you're in. If not, you have to either adjust or don't come. The reality is the amount of not succeeding businesses in this environment is probably far bigger than you might anticipate or might think, because it's so tempting. So when I said gold rush, there is the beginning of a rush, and there is the, let's say, when the rush has reached a certain level of maturity. And I'm not speaking about the government and the government's initiatives. It's amazing what the country always pulls off. I think we are in the middle or towards the upper end of the middle of that rush. So you're not coming as a first mover. You're not here and kind of changing the landscape. You come in when everybody's literally already here. So you cannot just say, I'm great and that's why I'm here. You have to steal market share from somebody else, because there is not a niche which has not been untapped. It is there. So you have to really kind of consider what it is you bring to the market to really become a successful entrepreneur.
So if I give you this scenario, which I've also seen among the people I've met, so something that, I have a great idea in my part of the world, Europe, let's say, I got ticket to Dubai.
Okay.
And I have money for the license.
Okay.
How successful that is. All I need is just to find investors.
If you've got an idea, that's fine, but I would suggest that you actually start the business. Whether you start it in Europe or you start it here, at least have the seed of your idea with like a proof of concept, if you like. It actually works. And if you're confident about that and you've got at least some backing, say, from friends and family, it's important to have that backing as well, because it's not just about money. It's also about having the right kind of people around you to encourage you to do what you need to do. If you're here buying the license, obviously it is expensive getting a license. It's not like Europe. You can set up pretty much straight away and continue. But the advantage here is the taxes. There are taxes here now, but they're really low. And there's no personal taxes. So a lot of what you can make, you can take home with you, which is great. So once you're here, you can establish the company, usually in a free zone, we'd recommend, and then start looking for your investors. Not difficult to find them. It's difficult to get them to partner with the money.
So just to confirm,
Okay.
money is here.
Yeah.
Investors are interested.
Yeah.
All you need to do is work hard, work smart, respectful to this place,
Yeah.
right?
100%.
100%. They're friendly, but you need to have patience also.
Yes.
You do need a little bit of money with you. You can't just go empty pockets,
No.
right?
No.
Proven concepts and real professionals with you,
Yes.
whom you can outsource the services so they can guide you
Yeah.
on this exciting journey
That's a very good summary.
Yes, yeah. But in general, it's a beautiful place to be.
It is. I think I love the place so much. I'm not going to go back to the UK. I think there's so many possibilities here, and I want to exploit as many as I possibly can.
I think so I've been here 28 years, even more. I
Yeah.
feel like I've been born here, but I'm a bit older than that. But I think one of the things that this place gave me is the contacts around the world that I could never probably imagine in my life, because this is the place where we all meet.
Yeah, agreed.
In terms of the investors in the GCC, how different what do you think, how different they are from, let's say, Europe, America? And also, is there any different, is there any specific PR tactics that they require, or they're quite similar?
I do know that investors who are based out of the main investment hubs, like the offshore hubs like Abu Dhabi Global Market, ADGM or DIFC or those places, they will have a fairly standard approach. They're not going to be they'll be looking at best practices, surely. So you're aiming for a best practice. Now, in terms of what you really want to demonstrate here, it's very much local knowledge. So that you know the local marketplace, you know the local nuances, you know cultural sensitivities, you know that the product is not going to be causing, that it's culturally relevant and not culturally insensitive. I mean, this has happened. This has cropped up. I mean, I seem to remember, Hooters wanted to open up in the Middle East at one point. That was a remarkable. They had press releases and everything. They were putting out. Yeah, that's really not going to fly around here. So those aspects of having knowing the local markets, but it's also down to the nuances of knowing what channels. I mean, I can't remember at the top of my head, but I know that it also changes so rapidly. But some countries prefer some social media channels. I think Facebook was very big in Saudi, but it wasn't quite so big in Kuwait. WhatsApp is used very, very strongly by youth across the Gulf. I think Snapchat is still very popular in some markets in Saudi, whereas it's not popular in other markets. So it's having that kind of knowledge is really, really important to be able to demonstrate to an investor that you as a company know this. And of course, who's told you as a company that this is the case? Your PR firm has. So we are very, very important in that role.
What do you think for those who are, Dubai is growing, the Middle East in general is a very hot area now, right? People are entering F&B, real estate, and all kinds of businesses, retail, and so on. What do you think is important for those who are new, those who do not have a support system and a great network of friends? What do you think is important for them when they're starting their businesses today?
To have a vision, to write it down. I mean, have a vision board, even if it's a page manually done. You stick stuff on it like a collage. It doesn't matter. On a computer, organized, depends on your skill set. And make sure this vision board is visible, not in your mind. It has to be printed and stuck on the fridge, on your desk, somewhere. So you say, okay, this is where I want to be. And am I getting there? What's now the roadmap to this goal? And it doesn't have to be things that are materialistic or expensive. It could be, you could have a spiritual goal. You want to be healthy. You want to eat organic food. So you have to have that vision translated into images and somewhere in front of you as a reminder. Are you there? Are you getting to your goal? Is this what you want to do? But once you have it, I think then everything falls easily in place.
Yeah.
If you don't have, you're going to have other priorities and other distractions in life that you will move forward to that will really distract you from your original path. So everybody should have this path, this road. You have to be dedicated, you have to be very focused, and you have to have that big picture in front of you all the time. And no matter what you hear, oh, it's difficult, aren't you tired? Yes, I'm tired, but I can do it. Like, this is the time to do it. If not today, then when? But I think when I look at the big picture that this is what I want to achieve when I'm 50, then I'm happy. It keeps me going. I like when people have a goal and a mindset, whether it's staying healthy, whether to grow up in their career or being creative, being an artist, it doesn't matter. But it's nice to have something to look forward to wake up in the morning and have a goal, have an objective.
The stereotype, these locals, they don't work. They just come to work and they get paid.
Yeah,
What
the
you say?
stereotype. And
I know how much you guys work, actually.
exactly. If we want to make change, we have to work. And I'm always against put an effort of what you get paid. I'm always against that. And we are always driven by passion, by what we want to change, the purpose, I'd say. So whenever I go to work, I know that I want to humanize this brand. I really know that you need to have such motivation and drive for it.
Yeah. So you don't go to work to get salary only. It's the purpose that you have.
It's definitely money is one of the verticals, but if you don't have passion, you'll go only from 8 to 5.
I know you have a very inspiring story about your dad, you've mentioned is an inspiration for you.
And he's amazing. My mom also. They're the ones who, before the internet, before things were easy, came to Dubai out of nowhere and built a life. So definitely. And yeah, I've seen him throughout the years open businesses, close businesses, take losses with a smile. It's part of the game for him. So mentally, I'm used to it. I know this is the game. You can't win it all. And if you're too scared to lose something, you'll never pursue something great. So you cannot have fear dictating your actions. It always has to be ambition. Actually, getting to failure is something we don't celebrate enough because it means you reached the edge of your skill. If you had more skill, you wouldn't have failed there. So there's so much to learn on many different ways. So I celebrate it, whether it's business or at the gym. When you cannot lift the weight anymore, you've hit your failure. The next day you can be stronger. But no, I didn't look at it as it's a difference failing, a project failing, and you feeling like a failure. I never felt like a failure. I felt proud that I achieved something or pursued something worth my time. And I wanted to do it again. I was excited to do it again.
Because I know I've seen some stories. It's very hard for a lot of people to admit that, okay, business is not doing well. I should go back to corporate. It's psychologically, for a lot of people, it's quite difficult. More admitting to yourself. But the way you look at it, it's amazing. I really love your vision. You're saying that you're bringing back the humanity. You're bringing humanity back to the workforce, one conversation at a time. Why do you think we need to bring humanity back to work? What happened to humanity?
I don't believe it's safe for us to be humans in the workplace. I think we've lost our way. I really do. I think we've lost our way in a sense that every conversation is more transactional. Like, I need something from you. You need to do this for me. And we interact just for the sake of that transaction, and then that's it. And then you're just a number, an Excel sheet, a name in an organization. But the truth is, as human beings, we're way more than what we do in our job titles and what we do at work. Like we just said, we're mothers and sisters and friends and daughters, and we play so many roles. And when you get to know people in your workplace and the people that you interact with, you get to know their stories, and you get to understand like their fears and their motivations and what drives them. And and at the end of the day, everyone is coming to make a better life for themselves and their families and the people that they look after. So no one really wakes up in the morning and just comes in and decides to not be a great person, But at the same time, unfortunately, we come into our workplaces with all of our baggage. Like, all of us are carrying backpacks with our own our own problems, our own wounds from our past, things we haven't processed, and unfortunately we end up then dumping all of that on each other. And then it just becomes then easier for us to deal with the workplace as this very clinical environment where I don't need to deal with you as a human because it's business and I need a result out of this. And then once we clock out, then I can, go back to being my human self. So what I've noticed, at least over the last 20-something years of corporate life, is it really looks to me, and I see it, where people walk in the door and it's as if they put on this armor, this like shield to cover up their humanness.
Dubai and the UAE is a little bit of a transient place for a lot of people. It's very hard to build the culture in the company that you actually wish to build, because unfortunately people come and go, and some, I would say, from my experience, over 50% of people, their main goal here is to earn money. They leave their families to come here to earn money. So it's quite difficult to build it. Now, what's your experience with that? And you've mentioned that culture is one of the influencers, like why CEOs actually fail, though it's not a really nice word. Could you tell me a little bit more about culture and what you've noticed in this part of the world specifically?
You need to be winning in the marketplace. You need to also be winning inside the organization. You need to have a thriving culture that nourishes and nurtures and keeps the company alive. And those are two very, very solid examples of how culture can actually mean commercial outcomes, business benefits, and real hardcore numbers in the end. So it's not the technical or functional skills that is lacking or getting in the way. It's what we in HR call the soft skills that are so hard to learn and exhibit and embody.
What would be those skills of just
people, culture, and politics?
Was that in your book? Yeah, those. Right, but
how do you become more effective in dealing with people?
Right.
Again, it's not some magic formula you need to apply. You just need to show vulnerability. You need to show higher levels of empathy. You need to show a great rapport with your people. You need to be able to relate to them, and likewise, like an infinity sign, they need to be able to relate back to you. You need to create a sense of followership, which is more than I'm your CEO, you're my CMO, I tell you to do this, please go ahead and do that. So that's not followership, that's command and control. And as we know, there's very little space left in the leadership world today to work like that. So it's all the soft stuff that's, or the lack of those, that's getting in the way, and not the technical or the functional competencies.
Difference between the company that is born here versus the company that is getting into the market now from abroad. A lot of companies from abroad, they think about themselves. It's them, their market, their customers. Companies that are born here, they especially raised by the locals or those who's been here for many, many years. We think about company, market, customers, government, impact on the emirate, impact on the country, right, and so on. So it's a much bigger thinking.
It's much bigger responsibility.
Big responsibility, and thinking is much wider usually. The companies from abroad, they don't really care that much on the impact they actually create for the country.
Exactly.
And they miss opportunity of actually working with the government, right? Because they ignore it. In some countries, they actually prefer not to work with government, or really say, oh, no, I have nothing to do with government, right? Here is the opposite.
It depends, actually, in which country you are in. For example, if you will be in US, let's say, or Europe, you act as a private company. It's different. You need to change your hat, and this is the importance of messages that we have.
Yeah.
So the messages are not set, and they are not all the same. So whenever you go to Europe, you show your private hat. Whenever you come to the Gulf, you need to show the support from the government. It's mainly changing the hats according to the culture that you are in, and this is the beauty of corporate comms.
When you're based in Dubai and you're looking at a wider region, you've got to remember that that Dubai itself is still, the Middle East, the UAE. I mean, these are conservative countries. So these are conservative societies. So there's a lot that you forget because you're in Dubai and you see that it's it's glitz, glamour. It's an international destination. That underneath there is still a lot of conservatism that you have to be careful with. You have to be aware of. I think careful sounds. I think it's a lot of conservatism you have to be aware of, and you have to be sensitive to, and you have to respect. And I think that once you start looking outside of Dubai, even within the UAE, that becomes even more pronounced. Abu Dhabi is more conservative than Dubai. Sharjah is obviously more conservative than both. Fujairah is more conservative than those three. So those aspects have to be thought about. The other things is understanding the cultural nuances of the different groups that operate here. Like the Southeast Asians make up the bulk of the population in Dubai. So, is your strategy worked out to incorporate that, or are you living in your own bubble of, like, if you're a Westerner like myself, are you living in a bubble of Westerners and you think that is the general attitude and that's what you're aiming towards? No, you're missing out 70, 80, 90% of your target audiences. So that idea that things aren't homogenized, they aren't inside of your group. I think something that's really important here that people forget as well is that the markets are actually a lot more mature than people think when it comes to communications. If you're thinking, coming from branding, for instance, and I can say the same for PR, but if you're coming from branding and coming here and thinking that they're quite naive on branding or they don't really understand branding, and yet you're looking at the fact that Dubai is one of the world's biggest brands. Emirates is a brand that is just staggering. Abu Dhabi has been doing huge work in promoting its own brand. The work being done is at a very sophisticated level. It's on the global stage. The media work is very different here, and it's genuinely more fun working with international media or working overseas with media, because here it is true that the media is a little bit more compliant. It's not, they have a certain, it's relatively straightforward to speak to and get messages across through the media. They're not going to fight back. They're not going to argue quite the same way that they do elsewhere. And that's something that you need to be aware of.
Right. Important things you need to pay attention to if you're a newcomer to this space.
Sure.
Across the region, let's just categorize it across the region.
Okay. So first of all, you really must have great patience. You must be patient. I'm sorry, that's the top. If you're
Thank you.
And not everybody is patient. Not everyone is. I understand that. Okay, so you have to be patient. The second thing is that unlike, I would say, North America, which I spent the bulk many years, let's call it 35, 40 years of my life, 50 years actually, doing business. In North America, for instance, relationships are important, but they are below the importance of actually doing the business. It has to be a financial, it has to work, and this is how we're going to do it. And then it gets to be a relationship, and then it gets to be the outcome. And then, okay, this region is different, fundamentally different. And that is, and I give this for advice for all of your people on the podcast in this region. There's no shortcut to building a relationship. And I've always operated from the start. That's who I am. I'm a relationship kind of guy. This region, you must have a hugely solid, reliable reputation before anything starts. Your relationship has to be the number one thing. And the one thing about relationships, which I'm sure you know, Nina, you'll know this for sure, they don't happen overnight. They can take years. Yeah. And they can also be destroyed in 5 minutes. That's the other thing. So you need a great, solid relationship. You need to build that reputation, and you have to be consistent over time. So there's no dropping into Dubai, staying in a nice hotel and trying to get some business done. It's not likely to really work out that well. That's what I've found. People can argue, but that's what I've found.
I tell some of my, friends who are looking at this region that I have certain people that I've spent 10 years having coffee with.
Exactly.
10 years without even asking for any kind of business.
No, you don't.
And then it comes, and then it just magically appears that these people advise, all my business, 99%, all referrals.
That's
magic. Magic, yes.
Well, you are an overnight success. Just look, it just took you 25 years to make that overnight success, right?
Yeah, what I must say about this region is once you have great relationship here, you have relationship worldwide.
You do.
Right? Because the way we have work in Canada, because of the people here, or Saudi Arabia, right?
Yes.
All the way to Malaysia, Indonesia, is all because we had a great time, great relationships here with people.
100%.
Yeah.